So Michigan and Ohio State, great rivalry game. Dusty May and company have been fantastic the entire year. A lot of people say he could be coach of the year in the Big Ten. He can be coach of the year, period, in college basketball. He's done a fabulous job since coming over from Florida Atlantic. He's replacing a guy that was, a legend of the program and a native son, and certainly kind of a, weird, controversial way to end the tenure there. And now you have a guy stepping in there, Dusty May, that did exactly what he was charged with. At Florida Atlantic, brought him to the Final Four. At Michigan, make us great. He's doing that. They're playing a rival. They find a way to get it done. Ohio State had a chance at the end, could not get the shot to fall. 86-83 is the final score. And, Mike, I mean, you look at Michigan, and I know Ohio State was right there, but the 7-footers, Golden and Wolf, they're a problem. And you look at their stat lines tonight, both those guys just ate it up inside.
Yeah, they did. And look, that is something that when you look at the rest of Big Ten play, this quest that they're on for a Big Ten title, and then heading into March, there's just something to be said about having an advantage every single game. And for the most part, against most teams in the country, Michigan is going to have an advantage in the front court. And you saw that on display today. And you talked about Dusty May. I mean, Dusty May just continues to strengthen his case for Big Ten Coach of the Year. And I love the fact, along with him, we heard it from Bruce Pearl this week, there's these coaches that aren't shying away from what this means to them and kind of, talking their shit a little bit. I like that. Dusty was in the locker room after the game today, and he's like, hey, all that stuff, Ohio State fans, they want to talk to us. Like, what pisses them off the most is when you just brush that off your shoulders. And then, he got the locker room riled up, and then they started talking about Michigan State, which is, another rivalry game for them coming up. But look, in this game, I mean, I saw the stat today. Michigan has now won 9 conference games by 4 points or less. And that's the most by 4 points or less since, I think, Wright State in 2007, 2008. So it's been a long time, and a lot of games have been played. But I don't think it's fluky at all, because there's a role identification to this team. There's a clear pecking order of who has the ball and who's going to operate late clock. And then on top of that, I talked about Dusty May. I mean, you got a guy that, as far as out of timeout, X's and O's, draw something up, get us a bucket, he's as good as anybody in college basketball. And the thing that I loved about today was Danny Wolf had it going. It's 76-73. Ohio State scrambles. They say, man, we got to throw a 1-3-1 at him. We got to stop him. But he's 7 foot. Now you got to rebound out of the zone. He gets an offensive rebound, put back, scores, goes down, blocks a shot on Bruce Thornton. And then when they come back down to basically seal the game in a way, he draws up 2 plays, neither for Danny Wolf. It's not for Vlad Golden. It's for Roddy Gale. And that is not a coincidence, given the history with Roddy Gale in Ohio State. And it's Iverson cut over the top into kind of a wrap into a layup. Then you had a stagger away, dribble, keep, and do a layup. I mean, that is, and to get a guy like that going who struggled. I mean, Roddy Gale struggled during the game. And so, when I look at Michigan and you look at them, like I said, for March, it's not just a bet on the front court. It's not just a bet on the role identification. It's a bet on a damn good coach, too, in Dusty May.
Yeah, I literally have that. I have that written down. I don't mean to cut you off. I literally have written down right here, Dusty ran shit for Roddy in crunch time. That's literally what I have written in my notes. And the thing that makes them so dangerous, the thing that makes them so dangerous to me, and the reason why, they're not a metrics, darling, because, we're going to talk about Maryland in a little bit. Maryland's beating the brakes off of teams, and I don't know how many wins that they actually have where you look at that and say, okay, that one moves the needle, right? Whereas Michigan has a lot of wins where you kind of say, that's a pretty good win, but they're all kind of these games where they're winning close, they're winning in crunch time. I don't want to say it's lucky, but it's they've kind of turned around what happened at the start of the year where they melted down against Arkansas, they melted down against Oklahoma, and they blew a double-digit lead in each of their first 3 losses of the season, right? They lost at Minnesota in the game they should have won. So having the ability to go to your 2 7-footers and put them into a ball screen if you need to, or run offense for Roddy Gale and know that you're going to be able to win games if you need to, or know that you have guys like Namari Burnett or Trey Donaldson that'll step up and knock down a big shot. Like, that just makes them so dangerous and so much more difficult to guard because you already have this thing that you're not used to dealing with a 7-footer that can handle ball screens like a point guard. But you also have all these other guys that you have to have in the back of your mind. It's not like you can just say, all right, we're going to figure out how to deal with this ball screen and we'll move on for there. It's like they don't run the ball screen. And then you got this guy, Roddy Gale, who averaged 13 and 4 last year at Ohio State. And he's coming in and he's making shots even though he's struggling. So it's a really, really good, well-balanced, well-coached team that, I'll be honest, Childers, I was one of the doubters. I said, you're getting Danny Wolf and Vlad Gold. You're going to play them together? What are you doing? Are you drunk? Did Dusty have too many Mai Tais and Boca Raton before he left for Ann Arbor? Like, I didn't think it was going to work. And it did. He made me look dumb. Big Ten Coach of the Year right there.
It's working beautifully. It really is. And to me, what he did today by setting it up for Roddy Gale, that's like, I think that's a message to your fan base that I'm all in. Like, I'm one of you. I'm ready to shove it up their ass. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to stick it to Ohio State. I'm going to stick it to the rival. I mean, somebody who covers football, trust me. I mean, these sons of, they hate each other. They hate each other. I mean, they are as obnoxious and crazy and as ferocious and as just insane as any fans in America. And we just saw, I mean, trust me on this. We had a football program where Michigan beat Ohio State. Ohio State went to win the national championship. This is the biggest game they've had since in any sport. And it mattered. And I think Dusty May, I'm telling you, Dusty May today, all the great things you've said about him are true. But I'm telling you, in every bar in Ann Arbor right now, they are toasting that guy. Because Roddy Gale, that is a middle finger Rob Doster right at Ohio State. And there's nothing that endears anybody to the Michigan fan base more than when you stick a couple middle fingers up at the Buckeyes.